Okay, so here we are talking about American Gangster, a movie that doesn't hold back. It's raw, unfiltered, and packed with unforgettable scenes. But here's one moment that really stands out to me, and it's probably not the one you'd expect. First, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know what you're waiting for. And if you have but need a quick refresher, here's the gist. Frank Lucas, a Harlem drug kingpin, rises to power in the corrupt 1970s, surpassing even the mafia with the reach of his empire. Meanwhile, Richie Roberts, an honest cop, is laser focused on bringing him down. Lucas runs his operation with impunity, smuggling heroin into the US in the coffins of soldiers killed in Vietnam. Now, the scene I'm talking about involves Frank Lucas and another drug lord, Nicky Barnes. The dynamic between them is wild, and honestly, I think the film doesn't give Nicky enough credit. If Frank Lucas is number one in their world, Nicky is a solid second. Both made millions, lived large, fueled addiction in their communities, and eventually got caught. And yeah, they both cooperated with authorities. So the scene opens up with Nicky, who's played by Cuba Gooding Jr. He's off in his own world, though surrounded by beautiful women dancing all up on him. He's lost in the moment, probably high as hell. Then Frank walks in and steals the spotlight instantly. The focus drawn to him. The way he's framed here, I really like an asymmetrical shot. Frank is like the calm eye of the storm amidst the chaos. When they finally meet face to face, we get Nicky in these tight close-ups where Frank's slightly wider and looks more chilled, looks more relaxed. Nicky's uptight. You know, there's something going on here. He's Frank's target and he's locked in on Nicky. Now, Nicky greets Frank using Frank's own catchphrase back at him.
My man.
But it's more than just a friendly phase, it's a subtle jab, a slap in the face, because as we're gonna find out, Nicky's been using Frank's Blue Magic brand name for his own deals, and he knows eventually Frank was gonna come calling, so here it is. Taking a step back for a second though, you can see how the eye lines are framed up with Frank Lucas looking down ever so slightly. Nicky, he's not his equal in this shot, and Frank doesn't see him anywhere near that. So the tension between them is masterfully crafted here. We've got Frank looking calm, looking cool, looking collected, seated back with an air of control, while Nicky, he looks tense. You know, he's hunched over, pretty defensive positioning here. The camera work makes it clear Frank is dominant here. Even their eye lines tell the story. Frank looks down at Nicky literally and figuratively. Nicky's barely able to start talking before he needs to get some white confidence in him.
Yeah, everybody's good, Nick. You know, everybody's happy. Charlie, Baz, the Italians, you know, Johnny Lowe, everybody's happy except you. I'm happy, Frank. You happy?
Now, think about what Nicky just said. I don't know about you, but this frame does not look like a happy man to me. It seems Nicky's trying to play it cool, but it's failing miserably. His body language screams of insecurities. His hands covering his mouth, drink in hand, muffling his own speech. Meanwhile, Frank is poised, sharp, and unimpeached. Every word he says cuts through with authority. Right now, Nicky is not able to hold himself with confidence in front of Frank, and it's showing clearly. As Frank talks, the look Nicky gives him here, though, screams, "I want to rip your throat out," which then leads him to bare his teeth at those he knows he can get away with abusing. You know, obviously doing what he can to remain some sort of in control, exert some sort of dominance, even if it isn't on Frank himself, still showing that he's still king in his jungle. He's still running things, even though both the people seem to ignore him and Frank as well. The dialogue here is brilliant. Frank breaks it down for Nicky like a businessman explaining trademark law. This is business class 101 for Nicky.
Blue Magic. That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it. They know that, even if they don't know me any more than they know the chairman of General Mills.
Making it clear why Blue Magic isn't just a name, it's a brand, and you don't mess with it.
All due respect, Frank, if I buy something, I own it.
No, that ain't true. That ain't
Buy
true.
a car and I want to paint it, I can paint the
Yeah, but you
motherfucker.
don't have to.
So now we got Nicky on the other hand, who tries to worm his way out of it, but Frank's logic is pretty airtight. By the end, you can see Nicky's frustration boiling over. Even when he agrees to stop using the name Blue Magic, he's so wound up that he smashes his own wine glass, demanding more respect from Frank. And Frank, he just smiles.
Catch me? Infringement? Insist? I don't like these words as much as please. Thank you. I'm sorry to bother you, Nicky. These are better words you use. You coming to my motherfucking club without an invitation. Hear me?
Knowing he's won, you can't demand respect. It is earned, or at the minimum, it is granted by default unless given a reason to take it away. And you could argue that in this scene, Nicky gave Frank that reason. As Frank walks away, you're left with the image of Nicky defeated, slouched over and powerless. He looks like a wounded dog to me right here, who's done something wrong and his master isn't pleased with him. It's the perfect ending to a scene that says everything about their relationship and the power dynamics in this world. I freaking love it. This isn't the gunshot to the head that was Idris Elba's scene, which is also one of my favorite, rattles you to the core. Nor is it the scene where, I forget the cop's name, but he stops Denzel and his wife on their wedding day on their way home. Another scene I really like. But regardless, I think this scene speaks volumes for the type of man Frank Lucas is, at least how he's portrayed in this movie. The real Frank Lucas has come out and said that certain things have been exaggerated. Again, I think Nicky Barnes is not being sold as he really should be, as the fellow kingpin that he really is and was during this time. But of course, this movie is about Frank Lucas, so Ridley Scott taking some liberties to play it up a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. It was entertaining as heck every time I've seen this movie. So I hope you guys enjoyed the scene breakdown. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, what's your favorite American Gangster scene?